said HEMI.
Wow. A HEMI.
What's up, YouTube? How about we do something different today? How about we take the 68 Charger and we see what it makes on the dyno? Because I've never dynoed that car. Don't know what it's making, but we'll find out. What do you think? Let's try it out. Hey, what's up, YouTube? So today I'm going to be talking about the 68 Charger behind me. As some of you know, I bought this car December of 2020, and basically I looked for this car for 3 years. I'd looked from the West Coast to the East Coast, California to New York to Florida, and I could not find a 68 Charger. I was looking for something. At that point, it was in memory of my father, who passed away April of 2020. The reason is I'd always grown up watching, Dukes of Hazzard, Dirty Mary, Crazy Larry, Bullet, all those movies that had a 68 or 69 Charger in them. And those are really cool cars. I really liked them. But the significance was my dad, when him and my mom got married, he had a 68 Dodge Coronet RT with the 440 big block in it. I've got a picture of them at their wedding leaving in the car. So it's pretty cool, So I'd always had a fancy for 68 models. And anyway, I looked for this car for a long time, hoping that my dad and I would have a project car we could kind of tinker on together, I've got Pontiacs and Mustangs and trucks and all this stuff. But he appreciated those cars. I think he liked the Pontiac because he's a really more of a GM guy. But I was trying to have something while he was alive that he could come over and tinker with me on and reminisce about old times, he used to tell me all kind of stories when I was younger about cars he had and how that 68 Coronet was really fast for what it was from the factory. But anyway, unfortunately, I didn't find the car till after he passed. Luckily, I found this car literally 15 minutes from my house. It was unbelievable. Things that are meant to be, you know, it's that whole fate thing. What's meant to be is going to happen. But I found this car, and a friend of mine, Ryan Keenan, was actually doing a little maintenance on it for the original owners. The car sat up so much, it just had leaks and things on it, and he was fixing a transmission leak. And the funny story is, he had this thing on a lift in the background of a picture he took of his Mustang in his shop on Instagram. But I immediately saw this car, and I called him. I said, "Hey man, is that your car? Is it for sale? What's going on? Can I come look at it?" So long story short, I went to look at it. He put me in touch with the original owners. I went and talked to them, and they sold me the car. And it's really interesting, you know, how I ended up with the car. But over time, I took the car, as you've seen in my other videos. It had a 318 two-barrel, 3-speed 906 transmission, which is the smaller version of the 727. The car was equipped with power steering, air conditioning from the factory. I mean, that's how the original owners had put the order in October 1967, which is really cool. The lady who had bought it, she customed it, ordered it green with the white interior, which is different, you know, it's unique. And but it's a really, really nice car. It's a really different combination. Would I pick this color combination? Probably not, but I like it now. It's kind of pimp, I call it, with the white interior. But since I took possession of it, I upgraded the safety. I did the disc brakes on the front. I changed the suspension. I put Hotchkiss lowering, kind of sport lowering leaf springs in the back, and their shock kit front and rear. Lowered the torsion bars to make it handle a little better and look cool with a little bit of a rake to it. I put the American racing wheels, the vector wheels they call them, on it, which is the same thing on Dukes of Hazzard, the General Lee. And the white letter Cooper Cobra tires, 275/60 in the back on a 15x8.5 wheel. And I believe those are 235/60s in the front on a 15x7 wheel. Since then, I upgraded the rear end. I put a Sure Grip posi traction unit in it, 373 gears, new axles. That helped a lot. I did the new style HEMI conversion. I found an 06 Dodge Charger Daytona that had been wrecked. Bought the car for $1,250. So everybody asked me, "Why didn't you get the 6.4? Why didn't you get the Hellcat?" Because I couldn't find one for $1,250. That's why. I mean, let's be honest. That 318 two-barrel at best was probably making about 80 horsepower at the back tires. I don't think they're rated but like 150 to 180 flywheel power anyway. So they weren't very, very powerful. And the story was, I pulled out in front of the traffic one day and hit it, and I almost got run over because the car wouldn't get out of its own way. The motor ran great, like a sewing machine. I mean, it ran perfect and smooth, but it just had no power. And I didn't want to go crazy with it. I didn't want to take the car and put a supercharger on it and turbos and crazy stuff, because honestly, I wanted to have a cruiser with this car. Again, something that if my dad was around, he could appreciate some modern advances to the car, but still keep the overall theme of what it looks like. So in that aspect, I put the 5.7 HEMI in it and the 5-speed automatic overdrive, and had a custom drive shaft made to fit and all this stuff, and used a lot of the 06 parts that I could, like the radiator, the electric fan, all the accessories on the front, air conditioning, the power steering, everything that I could piece out of that 06 I used in here. And a few custom touches I had to do, like the feel for the radiator. I had to do this hot rod inline type of setup and all that. Custom lines of air conditioning, things like that. But overall, it went together great. Now, I have not had a chance to dyno the car. So part of my plan was to take it to the dyno to see what kind of power it made. And I was hoping to make about 300. It's on E85 all the time. It's got Hellcat injectors in it, a set of long tube headers, 1 3/4 to 3-inch exhaust, and a cold air kit. Other than that, it's a bone stock 5.7 from 2006. And I was pleasantly surprised. The thing made 390 foot-pounds of torque, and it made 335 horsepower. I was really impressed. I mean, that's, you know, it's a 345 cubic inch motor. It's making just about 1 horsepower per cubic inch, which is back in the day for hot rod, and that was pretty much what you're aiming for. And if you do the little 20% loss through the drivetrain that most people do, that puts it about 400 horsepower at the flywheel. So if you think back, the 426 Hemi back in the day was rated from the factory at 425 horsepower. So is it the old style Hemi? Does it look cool with the big valve covers and all that? No. Is it still a Hemi? Yes. Does it make similar power and get better gas mileage this car ever got? Absolutely. I just drove it to Rockingham recently with the wife for a Mopar Fest they had down there, and it averaged 14 miles to the gallon, running 80 miles an hour, turning about 2,900 RPM. Since then, I've leaned out the air fuel a little bit, so I feel like it'll pick up 1 or 2 miles per gallon. So 15, 16 miles per gallon with 373 gears and on E85 has been phenomenal. I mean, I feel like that's great. With pump gas, it'd probably pick up 3 or 4 more. And so we'd be right back to what the factory had these cars rated at. Anyway, just wanted to share some of that with you, what I've done recently with the car, how we got here. I feel like if my dad was around, he could appreciate what I've done to the car to keep it tasteful, look cool, run great. But again, it doesn't have to be the fastest thing in the garage. It just has to look cool and be reliable. And right now, it's completely good to go. I mean, part of the video, I'll edit in some of these things from last night. Driving it home after the dyno session, it was fine. It runs 180 degrees all the time with the 180 thermostat in it. It's just a really solid car. I'd drive this car anywhere right now. I mean, it's a perfect cruiser car, throw your family in, and still makes good power for a modern day engine. Anyway, just wanted to share some of that with you on the 68 Charger. If you have any questions, let me know. Oh, I did forget, it does have a Holley EFI Terminator X Max computer system in it. And the transmission is run by a combination. It's got the factory TCM from 06, the transmission control module. It also has a PCS 2600 controller from Russell Drake, which is sound German automotive. And it does wonderful. I mean, it shifts great. It runs great. I can't complain. It's been a really cool project, one that I like having, not only for the unique look to it, but just because it's just got the modern, updates to it. I've noticed in the Mopar community, you get a lot of love and a lot of hate. It's really mixed. People have told me you should have left the 318 two-barrel and all this, and for originality and all that crap. But, at the end of the day, it's my car. Do what I want to with it. I could have put a Ford motor in it. I had in my head I was going to do a Ford motor and call it the faux par, which is funny. But the steering linkage under the bottom kept me from doing it. I couldn't get the right oil pan for the combination I wanted to use that would clear the steering rack and still use the torsion bars. I didn't want to go aftermarket coilovers and the whole K-frame replacement and all that. I didn't want to take away from the car structure and the originality. But anyway, it's a Dodge motor and a Dodge. What can I tell you? So, hope you enjoy. I'll edit in some of this. I'll show you the dyno sheet and how the car really responded to timing. Right off the street, I had it at like 30 degrees of timing, and it made good power. And I added a little bit of timing to it and actually picked up a bunch on the bottom on the torque, but on the high side lost a little bit of horsepower. So I ended up adding 2 degrees on the top and taking 3 or 4 degrees off at the bottom to get the overall best power curve. So that just shows me, I had it tuned really close. I had Andrew Baroden do a bass tune for me, and his tune ran good. It just didn't have a lot of timing in it. So I put timing in it, checked on the dyno, checked the plugs and all. And now with a little bit more timing in it and tweaked the air fuel some, is making the best power it's ever made. So I'm real happy the way things turned out, and just wanted to kind of give you full circle where we are in the car. Hope you enjoy. So right here, what we're looking at here is when I added some timing to it. So the torque you see there is 390 foot-pounds of torque. And at the bottom scale there, we've got like 367 on the green line, 372 on the red line. Well, I mean right there, 374. So we had 374 torque on the ride in, and then adding 2 degrees of timing, we went right up here to 390 torque. So 390 torque, 2 degrees of time made a big difference. Now, you think if some is good, more is better? Not necessarily. And the green line is when I added more timing. So I added 2 degrees, it liked it, added 2 more degrees for 4 total, and it hated it. It actually dropped way down. So that tells you your timing's optimized. When you're making power and you add timing and it actually drops off like that, you just back it up. So I backed it up, and then out here, the graph gets a little distorted here because it was locking up the converter, it threw the numbers off, so I don't even count those. I go right here. Total, we did 334 on the red and 333 on the blue. So there it was really good. Basically with the blue line there on the bottom for timing, which was adding 2, and then at the other side I took timing away back here to give me the best power overall, which is like the red. So anyway, just wanted to share some of that with you. Hope you enjoy.